If the rumors are true, then the Sony Spider-Verse is officially done. Sorry, I am fresh out of tears if that's what you're hoping for. Kraven the Hunter is yet another comic book villain that Sony decided to butcher so that they could feel like one of the cool kids. So by now, you probably think you know exactly how this review is going to play out. But you should stick around because you may just be in for a surprise. Kraven the Hunter tells the story of a man who has abilities a lot like some of your most famous animals, and he uses these abilities and powers to fight bad guys. Wait a second, I thought Kraven is a villain. No, silly. This is the Sonyverse we're talking about. They don't have villains, only misunderstood anti-heroes. Kraven the Hunter stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe, Fred Hechinger, and Ariana DeBose. I gotta say, Ariana, you really need to consider getting new representation. That is 2 lousy movies this year. Wait, I didn't say that this movie's terrible. No, you misunderstand me. I'm talking about something different. Right off the bat, this movie makes it clear that this is not going to be the comic book version of Kraven that you are used to. This guy uses his powers for good. He's still known as a hunter, but he does not hunt animals. No. He hunts bad guys, meanies. Aaron Taylor Johnson has now starred in 3 superhero movies, and I have to say his best effort at the genre still remains Kick-Ass.
Who are you? I'm Kick-Ass.
A movie that I think is criminally underrated. He's not a bad actor by any means, but he's also not really a great one. It still very much seems like he's trying to wash away the experience of playing the nerdy Kick-Ass character, because since then he's been jumping at tough guy roles like a whore jumps to a dollar bill. That's a zinger, right? That is a zinger. In this film, he comes off as smug, and he seems like he's trying way too hard to be interesting for most of this movie. But I'm gonna try not to spend the entirety of this review complaining and comparing this movie to the comic book, mostly because it's pretty clear that Sony, the people in charge of Sony, or the writers, or whoever, they were just using the Kraven comics as like a coaster to keep their drinks from leaving stains on tables. But I will say that after having been treated to an amazing portrayal of Kraven in Insomniac's Spider-Man 2, this feels like a massive downgrade. This version of the character is not nearly as intimidating, and that has a lot to do with bad writing and an over-reliance on violence. When you look at movies like John Wick, it's easy to see why they thought we'd be impressed by lots of gore and blood. But John Wick is an original character with no ties to any existing IP. Blood and gore works really well for a movie like that, and for a movie like Deadpool, because the story is written in such a way to serve the blood and gore. This movie, however, just seemed like it was desperate to try to get as much shock value as they could with the blood and the gore, and it just came off as a really cheap tactic. One thing I will say works quite well in this movie, or should I say person that works quite well, is Russell Crowe as Kraven's father. Russell Crowe is embracing his B-movie status, and he's doing everything he can to elevate bad movies. And for his part, he does. In fact, he's one of the few Russian characters in this movie that actually has a Russian accent. He gives it his all, and he truly is one of the best parts of this movie. One of the things I think this movie does so wrong is its basic generic story. This is just a run-of-the-mill revenge type movie with bits of Home Alone, John Wick, and Deadpool, but not nearly as good as any of the movies that it's borrowing from. Oh, and let's talk about bad CGI, because this movie has lots of it. I'm talking Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire level graphics. That was okay back in 2001. It is no bueno in 2024. The scenes where we are meant to be impressed and amazed by some of these maneuvers that Kraven can do, well, they just fall flat because the CGI looks so cheesy, you can't help but feel like you are watching a sci-fi original movie. Sharknado vibes, anyone? Did anyone call for Sharknado vibes? Damn. I said you should stick around because you might be surprised about something I was gonna say in this review, and all I've done so far is take a massive shit on this movie. Wait a minute, I did say that Russell Crowe did great. That's not really a surprise. He always does great. Why are you here again? Why is he here? You told me I could be here. Touche. Touche. Okay, fine, I didn't really surprise you, but hopefully I did save you some time and some money. That is the whole point. That's the reason I sat in this bad movie, even though I knew it was gonna suck. I did it for you. Not all heroes wear capes. Some of them just wear hats. Like this one. Doesn't this just pop with this blue light? Sony's biggest mistake is that they really don't care about these characters. This movie reeks of a cash grab, and that is a shame because these characters deserve so much better than that. They attracted a lot of talented actors to movies that were clearly destined to be bad, and it makes you wonder if these actors were actually in this movie for the cash as well. One thing's for sure, I sure hope this movie is the end of the Sony Spider-Verse. I hated it. I want it to be done. I am hoping this is the end. And I hope these horrible movies can just be forgotten. We could treat these movies as like an Elseworld or like a bad fever dream, like you just drank too much and you had this weird hallucinational dream where Kraven was an animal lover and Venom was a comedy. Let's just pretend that this was all a big dream so that we can proceed with having a normal Spider-Man versus Venom, a normal Spider-Man versus Kraven. I think that we would be on board with that. I'm totally willing to forgive and forget these movies ever happened. Overall, this movie is better than Madam Web, but it's not by much. I would give this movie a 4 out of 10. That is 4 resoundingly sad, expressional faces. That's my thoughts on this movie. Did you guys see this movie yet? I hope you didn't because it sucks. But if you did see it, please put your thoughts on it in the comments and let me know. Did you like this video? If you did, then hit the little like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, well, you should be subscribing to this channel. Later.